As I began yesterday to tape this message to all of you, we heard the sad news that Governor Inslee ordered the closure of all public and private schools in the state of Washington for the remainder of the school year. While understanding the sadness of all of this, we must weigh it against the reality that there is nothing more important than the health and safety of individuals and our families. Our hope is that these measures ensure that. Though we had begun preparations of what school might look like due to COVID-19 in early March, the extent and reality of that hit home on March 13th, with Governor Inslee's order for schools to close through April 24th, and now with the recent order to close for the remainder of the school year. Beginning immediately after school that Friday, March 13th, and through the numerous questions and uncertainty, Walla Walla Catholic Schools adjusted and adapted quickly to continue learning and meeting the needs of our students and families. Over that first weekend, it was inspiring and humbling to receive notes and calls from so many of our parents and school community on what they could do to assist in the process. The efforts of our faculty and staff who worked all weekend long were nothing short of remarkable in their ability to prepare for their students' needs and learning so as to provide a transition that was as seamless as possible. The Walla Walla Catholic Schools community finished our last day with students present in our buildings on March 16th and began our school at home on March 17th with materials both online and in packets to keep students in an educational routine, though different than any they had experienced before. The efforts it took to make this rapid transition for our entire community cannot be understated. It speaks to the commitment and unconditional support of so many, and at the core of who we are at Walla Walla Catholic Schools. Though none of us signed up for or prepared for the year as a distance learning school, we have all adapted to meet these challenging times. As we mentioned early on in this process, we continue to focus on the values that are similar to our regular efforts: continued student learning, continued student growth, and meeting the needs of our students and families on a personal level. Nothing we do can replicate the face-to-face instruction we have successfully provided in the past, but we have strived to do our best with this transition. As we have heard so many times in so many arenas these last several weeks, we are all in this together. Fortunately, this is nothing new to us at Walla Walla Catholic Schools, and part of the very fiber we are. As we move through these unprecedented times, I wanted to acknowledge and support all of you for your efforts. To our parents, your roles in this have been as disruptive as any. You have been asked to assist your students in longer hours of learning at home while still dealing with all the challenges families are facing during this pandemic. A number of you have felt the effect of the closing of businesses, having been serving as first responders or essential workers during this time, or concerns about vulnerable family members. These items individually are challenging enough, but when combined with everything else that is going on, we recognize the level of what is being asked of you. Please know we are understanding, here to support you and your family, and you are in our prayers daily. As we move forward with our at-home instruction, we have listened to ways that we may improve, and we will continue to seek to enhance what we are providing for our students and families. More detailed information on these areas and school for the remainder of the school year will be provided to students and families after spring break. To our students, if there is a consistent theme we hear from our faculty and staff, it is we really miss our students. I know on a personal note, I miss greeting Assumption students at their arrival to school by the bike rack, tying shoes, zipping coats, seeing the joy in faces of our younger students as they interact with classmates. I even miss watching the 2-minute debate heading back to class on who is responsible for taking the ball back, or telling the middle school after lunch recess it's time to get back to class for the 5th or 6th time. I miss the interaction of DeSalle students in the hallway during passing time, when they take the time to give a quick hi or how are you doing, or even laughing at my corny jokes or sarcasm. We miss everything about you being around. We know you have also had to adjust the routine of receiving materials and instruction, and most of all, not being physically around your classmates and friends. I particularly feel sorry for the class of 2020. As a class, you have experienced more individual and group adversity than young men and women your age should. Through all the adversity, you have stayed together and been great support for each other. Now, you experience yet another challenge, and with the added adversity of not being able to be there physically for each other. Because of the young men and women you have become and the support you have, we will get through this together. We are committed to providing the experience possible as you move toward being the next graduating class of DeSales High School. We have always used the mantra with your leadership about looking outside ourselves and to the needs of others. While this belief has never been more important than it is today, please take the time to care for yourselves as well. To our staff, unless you have seen from the inside, our school community will have a hard time understanding the work and commitment from our faculty and staff during this time. Most of the vast experience and training of our staff has been on a personal interaction and instruction in the context of Catholic education. To immediately adjust and adapt to a new way of instructing and education while continuing to meet the students' needs speaks to the professionalism and commitment of our staff. They too have family challenges they are dealing with during this time, yet they have placed the needs of our students and families above their own needs. Our regular conversations with staff continue to revolve around how we can do things better and more effectively for the remainder of the school year. To our school community and alumni, please know that all of you are in our continued thoughts and prayers for your health and well-being during this time. We will stay committed to providing the education and faith formation so many of you have received and continue to live in your lives daily. As we navigate through these uncharted days, we are comforted by several thoughts. First, Walla Catholic schools have been built upon the framework that we are all in this together and have always risen to the occasion to support and care for community in the most adverse of times. The individuals that make up our community have been committed to seeing all our school community as supported and that our schools continue with their mission. We will not need to develop or change this characteristic as is lived daily by not only our parents, alumni, and school community, but also instilled in the young men and women in our schools. Second, it is ironic that our spring break includes Holy Week and the ultimate belief that our Lord was resurrected on Easter Sunday, bringing joy, hope, and salvation to us and the rest of the world. It is through this belief and strength that we will work through these challenging times and adversity. To all of you, on behalf of faculty and staff of Walla Walla Catholic Schools, please know we are committed in our efforts of providing all we can to meet the needs of you and your family. We wish you a blessed Holy Week and a joyous and hope-filled Easter. May God continue to bless all of you during this time.